Hello and welcome to the first official installment of the Pretzels and Tea Podcast. We did do this earlier, but now we have a name! So yay! Yay for names! We'll go through and introduce everybody. I'm Jacob, the host. Beside me we have Victor. Introduce yourself.
Hello.
Great introduction there. And next up we have our guest. Please, who are you?
Hello, my name is Glagoth, or at least that's my Twitter name, and my tweet handle is Mad Revelation, and that's it.
Subtle. I like it. So yes, with that done, I guess we'll move on to the first topic. First topic being the Hot Wheels versus Arthur Chu debate on Al Jazeera. Have you guys actually read through it, or at least watched the Sargon's video on it?
I've only watched Sargon's coverage of it.
Sargon basically goes through it. He basically goes through the entire thing.
Can you post it on the chat log?
Sure, I will do that right now.
It has the way Chu argues really has several clear similarities to what they're like on Gamergate.
Yes.
You know, with how he just deliberately pretends nothing had ever been proven or happened. And the same way, for instance, another topic for later, how Gawker is lying to its readers deliberately about the advertisers.
And that's basically the only thing that the opposition does. They tend to ignore all the good that we do and tend to focus only on the bad. And that's it. That's what we are to their eyes.
But if we do the same to them, we're just wrong.
Up to now, strictly speaking, we have never done anything wrong. What bad have we done?
Oh, but remember that they have the tendency to blame us for everything. The most recent example, it was, for me at least, was the apparent DOS attack on able gamers that turned out to be nothing actually. But according to the most prominent figures of anti-Gamergate, we were to blame for that.
Hang on a sec. Can you double check? Hang on a sec. I'll chuck in the link, but I actually, for some reason, can't see the debate itself. It's just coming up as an error for me. I'll also chuck it in the YouTube comment things for people who are listening in. Well, actually, I don't think anyone's listening in just yet because it's early times, but you know.
I haven't seen much of Arthur Chu except third-hand accounts of him and the interview with him on David Pacman, and otherwise just the Al Jazeera one.
I used to follow him on Twitter before he blocked me, and so I've seen quite a lot of Chewy. He's something special. That's all I have to say on the matter, really. He's openly came out as a rape apologist.
Did he really do that?
Yeah, quite literally.
I still can't. I've seen the quote, but it's just.
It's in the quote. At first I thought it was doctored. I thought someone had made the quote up.
Yeah,
at which point I went to his account and I realized no, he's actually said it, and then he actually defended the quote later on.
It's actually one of those ridiculous quotes that you need to double check to make sure they are real, because my first thought on it was, this is way too ridiculous to be true.
Yeah, the quote, it sounds like something a Gamergate member has made up in order to make him look bad, and then you realize, wait, no, this is actually just him talking. It's kind of ridiculous. Um. Can you guys see that stuff?
Yes, we can
The
see it.
the actual.
Yes, I see it.
Oh yes. You just linked me to something there, Victor. I was going to bring this up anyway as well. Yeah. This is.
Bring up that later. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. That's going to be our big topic. Next up. Next on our list of topics is the big victory. The big huzzah! Everyone in Gamergate can give yourself a good pat on the back for $1 million we have cost
At
Gorka.
least.
At least.
At least.
It said 7 digits, but
He says 7 digits, which is at least 1 million. So.
for all we know, that could be 9,999,999. So.
And 1 cent.
Yes.
Yes.
Theoretically. And 99 cents, actually.
Yeah, 99 cents. It's a bargain.
But,
Gorka,
but
I'd
yes.
buy that for $1.
It's a huzzah to send even to pick out even more advertisers and send more emails to those. See
So, everyone, give yourself a pat on the back, because that is kind of awesome. It blows my mind when I hear figures like that, because it just makes me think, like, how are we ever able to do this? It sounds like a crazy story someone's made up until you realise that no, Gamergate is a real movement and we are actually doing this. It blows my mind when I think about it.
Yes, you look around, it's always confusing.
Considering all the opposition that we have received from the very start, it's actually quite surprising that we are such an effective force.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we haven't had proper training. We're not propaganda masters. We haven't had degrees in communications.
No,
We're just a bunch of fucking plucky gamers. That's all it is, and we still kick their ass.
I have to disagree with
There's
that
still not a
because
lot of money to.
we don't need to be propaganda masters. We are consumers, and we got the money. We have the power. So I think it's basically because of that. Because at the end of the day, we provide the substance that keeps Gawker alive. So when Gawker turn his back on us, it's gonna receive some real pain.
Just recently, I was on Gamergate, and when you go to that stuff, you realize how real all of Gamergate is, because if you assume their sincerity, that when they talk to each other, they're still absolutely convinced that all of Not Your Shield is just a fabrication. All these people are just after all these months.
Yeah,
always more trickling through.
That whole complete denial of Not Your Shield, that's another thing that really made me stop and think, wow, there are some stupid people in the world. Because
the thing is, I just find it hard to believe that either those people are completely convinced of that, or they are a small set of people that deliberately talk in sort of a code, sort of a blatant denial code.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. They live in denial, and the reason why they live in that denial is because Not Your Shield is a direct challenge to what they believe. The fact that they believe that Gamergate is a bunch of misogynistic white males that want to drive out women out of the industry.
Well, I've had people like. I often debate people on Twitter. I can't get enough of it. It's like crack cocaine. And I've had people repeatedly just completely straight out deny whatever facts and whatever statistics I bring up. And one person actively said, this fact supports your opinion too conveniently, so hence it must be wrong. It's like,
And
Maybe
the thing is that they do the same thing with their facts. Like, oh, this proves that Gamergate is irrelevant. No, it's not. No, yes, it is, because it's what I agree with.
yes, and then what do we do when we get hold of these facts? We go, okay, let's look into those facts and let's see exactly how they got those facts. But I've had people openly go, no, I'm not going to bother looking into them. I'm not going to bother fact-checking you. I just know they're wrong because of emotions. Okay.
I think that's part of the bad-mouthing machine of the this kind of behavior where people are told through third-hand accounts that person is this and that. And based on that, they just turn off. They just start ignoring anything those. For instance, it's very it was very convenient for the opposition that Milo Yiannopoulos, when the whole.
So guys, I am watching the stream right now, and we have one watcher.
Hey, one person watching.
No one is watching because I am the watcher.
Well, then let's plug it on all platforms.
Yeah, please. Advertise like a shameless whore. Is the problem?
Can you link the stream?
Yeah.
Yes.
Link the stream. Not the inside. I mean the stream outside.
Yeah. The YouTube bit of it. This is probably extremely boring if you're watching later on YouTube. So.
Something you can. This is one of those small podcasts where there's pretty much no name in it, so anyone could come on at any time.
Yeah. This is a pretty small setup, and the majority of our viewership is after the fact. After we've done talking. But yeah. What were we talking about again? I completely lost the train of thought now because of that.
Not your shield?
Ah, yes, the not your shield thing.
The denial? Oh, the denial, the bad-mouthing machine, that was it. This
yes.
this kind of behavior where you start just ignoring information based on what you're told that someone is.
That is.
And for instance, it was very, very convenient for the opposition when the whole Game Journal Pros thing happened, that Milo Yiannopoulos was a right-winger. Because then they could say, well, look, this is all just a right-wing backlash against the changes that are to come, and I think they do that a lot. You see it with, for instance, with this Metalgate thing, where there's just suddenly articles saying that the people being upset about bringing in hypersensitivity into metal or fighting games, that this is all just a reactionary backlash of right-wing conservatives who want the status quo to be maintained.
There is actually a page called Mailgate, and it's not about the movement. It seems to be a metal shop.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Brilliant.
It's actually about Gamergate.
It's actually about gates in gaming journalism.
There's also a Gamersgate, that thing where you can purchase games.
Yeah, Gamersgate. That's
Can you post the link of the YouTube thing?
I posted it in the actual in the chat here.
I can't see it.
Can you not? It's just below the Al Jazeera.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird how the chat works in Google Plus, and by weird I mean terrible.
Okay.
So yeah, share that amongst peoples. Advertise like shameless whores. Yeah, I actually follow Gamersgate on Twitter, thinking that it was Gamergate when I first followed them, and I just haven't been asked taking it off since. So
that was the big joke when Lee Alexander was in the spotlight. With all her racist quote, and then that guy, Greg Kostikian, wrote that article. The White Knighting article, the one where he literally says in the end, by horse or by foot, I will fight for the honor of Lee Alexander. And he conflated. He got the names mixed up, and he wrote Gamersgate everywhere. And everyone ended up making fun of why is he so angry at the Gamersgate. And
yeah. Well, that was. Yeah, I think we've covered 2 topics there. That was quite a bit of a rant we had then. We'll move on to the next thing that has come up. This is something I don't know if you guys know a lot about, but a big AAA developer, Christian Allen, guy behind such games as Halo Reach, was interviewed recently about Gamergate, and best way to describe him would be neutral, if not leaning towards Gamergate.
I think I heard of that, but he made several cliche standard points sorted out as anti-Gamergate points. You know, the kind of stuff where it's like we should change the name of the hashtag, and we should elect a leader, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I was having a couple of debates with people the other day about electing a leader, but yeah, John, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, is that I just wanted to say that Niche Gamer has done a lot of those interviews, and that is not the most recent one. I am actually trying to find it right now, and I think the most previous one was one developer that was neutral at first, but eventually became pro Gamergate. I think.
That'll be interesting to have a look at.
I might be wrong with that, but
yeah,
with how they treat their own, that's not exactly very far-fetched, is it?
I just think it was interesting, the fact that a AAA dev just at least sounded so pro Gamergate, at least in comparison to other devs, other public figures that I've heard from about the topic. A lot of them seem to lean neutral, if not against, and he seemed to be one of the only ones I've heard that has gone pro with his name slapped on it as well. I mean, I've heard other devs obviously be pro Gamergate, but a majority of them have tried to keep anonymous or have.
I found it.
Studios.
I found it. I'm gonna post a link of the most recent interview that is with a AAA developer called Adrian. Oh my god, I don't know how to pronounce that. Lars, something like that.
Check it in the chat in here now.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Anyone who's watching, follow me on Twitter at Heretical Filth, and I will tweet this out so you guys can have a look at it as well. There we go.
Adrian Schmeilars.
Schmeilars? Oh wow, that really is a weird name. I've just brought it up now. Schmeilars.
Probably not exactly.
If you hear this, if this podcast somehow reaches you, Adrian, we apologize for massacring your second name. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at this probably later, because I don't really want to sit here reading while on a podcast. I don't think that'll be really.
I wanna quote a few paragraphs of that interview, if you don't mind.
Oh sure, if you can find them, yeah, go ahead.
What slowly opened my eyes were 2 things, and I'm quoting right now. First, Gamergate persistence. When you are on Twitter, it's impossible not to hear about Gamergate. And every now and then you read something pro Gamergate that makes sense and that forces you to dig deeper. I have a very analytical mind, so I dig deeper. And what I saw was not matching what some call the official narrative. Like every human being, I'm biased, but I'm trying my best to fight it. So after learning more on Gamergate, I admit to myself that I was wrong about it. Second, the more I hear about Gamergate from the hardcore anti-side, the more I became suspicious of their views. It's not just stuff like their reflectionless support of dishonest, manipulated game critics like Jonathan McIntosh or Anitra Sarkeesian. And I'm done. I hope you understand my poor English.
Okay. Thing is, the question is basically does he speak as his PR self or does he speak as his actual self? Because we noticed that that the trend is that game devs that are out there with their name always just so happen to be anti-Gamergate, especially the ones in big companies. Here and then you get an anonymous accounts or anonymous devs who go onto streams who actually give a very grim picture of what it's really like behind the scenes. And I think the consensus was the constant was that the companies that the devs are always to say what fits the company's policy, and if the company's policy is to have a good relation with the press and therefore be anti-Gamergate, then of course they're going to publicly have to be anti-Gamergate. So if we see someone with his name, someone who makes big games with his name out there saying he is pro, that might be an indicator for how the tone or how the tension, the tendencies in the policies of big game companies are gradually shifting.
I have to disagree with that. I think that a lot of developers are actually pro Gamergate because they know of like the stereotypes that we gamers faced every day, even before Gamergate. So when the press came and called us a misogynistic group and seeing all the harassment that came with that discussion, because that's an undeniable fact. There has been a lot of toxicity in the discussion of Gamergate. So I think that's why developers don't want to come out, because they don't want to be seen as part of a misogynistic group, and they don't want to get harassed. But I have a lot of hope with the developers because they are the ones that made the games.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I think a lot of them realize that Gamergate is their consumer base. I mean, at the end of the day, if they piss us off too much, then we just won't buy the games, and then, well, it's back to serving burger and fries in McDonald's. You know, I think some of them realize this, and I mean, I don't want to sound like benevolent rulers, but at the end of the day, the consumer is always right, and some of them are starting to realize that these feminist hipsters who, you know, yeah, they'll give you great press in the media, but they aren't the ones buying the games. They aren't the ones with Steam accounts with over 100 games. These aren't the people who have Xboxes. These are the people who have blogs and Tumblrs, and every now and again play fucking Candy Crush on their phone.
At least their audiences, they themselves probably do have the consoles and at least the PCs and get the games. Otherwise they wouldn't. Are they allowed to write reviews and publicize reviews of games they haven't played?
Well, if you look at Leigh Alexander, the head editor, I mean, I don't believe that she has to play every single game all of the reviewers on Gamasutra have to play. She just has to be the lead editor and has the final say on what's said and what's not said in the review.
Yes, I mean, but the reviewers themselves, do they have to play the games or?
Well,
they just put a few pictures together and that's it there.
That's a very good question. I mean, we have no proof that they even play the games. I mean, there's only a few reviewers that we definitely know do, and those are people that are mostly YouTubers, and we only know because we can see them play the game. You know.
and there is actually some transparency needed in like the professional, like how do I say it? The professional part in in the oh my god, sorry.
No
What I
worries.
mean is that remember the fiasco or that came with the independent game festival when some people said that judges don't play their games.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yes. What about that?
Yeah, apparently the judges of some tournaments or something like that don't play the games that they were supposed to judge, and
Yes.
they give prizes. Uh,
That's that's no big news really. That's just indefensible two. No, not even. Is it indefensible one or indefensible two? It's one of those two.
so the fact that official professional judges uh, don't play something that they are supposed to judge, it's something that needs to be corrected, because it doesn't give everyone a fair chance to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a tweet from one of the judges come out saying that she was just automatically downvoting any game that had a man in it. I mean, she was later fired for said tweet, but then the organisers issued an apology to her. So they fired her, but then they said sorry for firing her. Mm.
In what world that does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't get it either. That's like me working in a homeless shelter, complaining that all homeless people are smelly, getting fired, and then them apologizing for firing me. It makes no sense, but they did it
Not
anyway.
really. It's actually worse than that, because if you were working in a home for the homeless, you're really just and you say the homeless are smelly. You're really just saying something about the homeless. But openly said she would compromise her judgment
Well,
her
yeah,
judgment as a judge for the
yeah,
sake of misandry.
yeah, for just hating men. So I'm going to downvote all the men
So
games.
what she basically said is my word as a judge is worthless, and of course you have to fire her after that.
Mm. But then to apologize afterwards. I mean, if you're going to do something, I believe you should stick to your guns. Like,
Yes, but there is a big but in there. Did you read the apology?
I'm going to be honest with you, I skimmed it.
It was
Yeah,
the IGF, right?
it was
Yeah, yeah.
the
Because the
apology basically said, sorry that we fired you, but you are not a judge anymore. They didn't back out of their original stance.
They didn't
not
back
just
away from the
that,
original stance, but it just pissed me off that they should have to apologize in the first place.
But consider the fact that they got a lot of pressure from it. I mean,
I'm
other
sure they did.
judges, I, all the some other judges said something like, if you don't put that specific judge back in, I am backing out.
I'm
yes,
sure they
So
did get a lot of pressure.
there
Well,
is there
so
is something
it
positive
actually
in that. There
so
is
you
something
picked it, you go.
positive in that apology. There is, if you really read it, there was something positive, and that was it also featured it also contained a mention that she also raised suspicions on the integrity of her judgment, something along those lines. The IGF made a concession by that. It made a concession that the concerns around her were not about her being a woman.
Okay, so
They had to give us some leeway by that, more
so
or
they
less.
basically said that we fired her, but it's not because of genitalia. It was because of what she said, and they wanted to specify that.
Yes,
Still pissed me off that they should have to specify.
that they did that is something positive. because they are part of that same San Francisco network that usually has this closing ranks policy of never admit that it is anything to do with anything other than women.
But anything other to do with women or black people or gay people, or weird multi-system otherkin, whatever Tumblr-ism is going around today. So
I guess the yes, but I have the suspicion that those at least those San Francisco people, they're less on about social justice in general, and more about feminism. It's more about it's really just all about women.
what
Everything else is really just to garner supporters.
can we get some bioengineers, some proper big scientists to go to San Francisco and take samples of the water? Because there's got to be something in there. Do they have lead pipes? Is that what it is? Is it like Rome? Do they actually have lead in the pipes? Is that what's
Wait,
insane?
That would explain why they were all so young.
Go on.
We cannot judge the entire population of San Francisco because of a lot of bad apples. There has to be a nice person there. There has to be.
There probably is, but that one person or those 2 people or 5 people in San Francisco who aren't crazy, probably those 5 people who don't drink the water. So,
Then, did you mean that because of the game anthropologist? Because he raised the theory that it might be a problem of San Francisco. That this whole discrimination accusation is actually just San Francisco projecting its own problems onto the world.
Could be.
You mean that theory?
I didn't think about it. I just saw crazy. I saw it coming from one place, so I assumed that one place was also crazy. Please, I don't think about what I say. I just sort of vomit out.
I think the whole thing with all of it being in San Francisco is really just about the networking. If you read the networking that has gotten so tight that it's become too personal, that's probably one of the reasons why we read of game devs and covering journalists hanging around like their neighbors or close friends.
So you would say it's more the fact that it's a almost like close-knit society, and that's where the problems seem to be arising from?
San Francisco is essentially an echo chamber for the opposition.
It really is. Well, they seem to like echo chambers anyway. I mean, even if you take it out of San Francisco and you put it online, you put it on the internet, where the free marketplace of ideas, as Thunderfoot put it, and they set up those echo chambers, actively try to set up those echo chambers there.
Yes, but that has political reasons. That is really just political reasons. That's really just part of this social justice mentality bleeding through. Everything that is a disagreement. You see it, for instance, in Gamergate with how so often, all the time, any form of disagreement or criticism is redefined to harassment. So of course, any place where there is dissent is unsafe.
Well, yeah.
The problem that I see with these kinds of people is that they believe they are the righteous saviors of something, right? So they essentially see everything in black and white, and they are the white. So everything against them must be black by definition.
I'm sorry, they are the white. I'm sorry, I just like.
Do you mean that? Did you just think of race?
Yeah, I just immediately thought that they are the KKK. We are the white. Sorry, my bad.
No pun intended. No pun intended.
Well, I personally, as speaking for myself, I did intend for that pun. So so that was just funny. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Given that we were talking about the developers anyway, I guess we'll move on to Bro Team Pill, a predominant YouTube channel in the area of stupid as hell gaming videos. Decided to do a couple of serious ones, or at least semi-serious, as far as they can really go, interviewing game developers about Gamergate and about the industry as a whole. All these interviews, well, 3 of them so far, although I'm presuming there's going to be more, the developers were anonymous, and 2 of them actually were female. And all of them so far as I can tell, have been promoting Gamergate, and the developers have come out and said, yeah, we're down with Gamergate. One of the interviews, I believe it was the second one released, although feel free to correct me on that, Total Biscuit himself came out and stated that he had previously talked to the developer in question and clarified that this developer is the real deal, has been working on AAA games, and isn't just some fake guy standing behind a camera pretending to be a girl, pretending to be a game developer. So it turns out it looks like these interviews are the real deal. Have you guys seen them?
No.
I have seen the one of X-Bro and half of the first one, but I haven't seen the latest one.
They're definitely worth watching if you haven't seen them. I
only remembered Bro Team as those people with these extremely intense summaries of games.
Yep, that's Bro Team Pill. Yeah. Hang on a sec. I'll bring up the interviews so I can chuck them in the chat. Just you have them for another time after this, I guess, because I wouldn't be too happy if you started randomly watching YouTube videos in the middle of a podcast. I would have to tell you off, and possibly punish you with violence. There you go. That's the first one.
I've never understood why of all the people, Bro Team is pro Gamergate, because as far as I remembered, Machinima was anti, and Bro Team was actually part of Machinima.
Well, Bro Team, honestly, so far, they don't seem to care about offending people. I mean, you've seen their videos. So even if Machinima, I'm unsure about Machinima's position myself, but even if they are anti, Bro Team probably don't care.
But when did Machinima came out anti?
I don't know when. I don't remember when, but that was mentioned at some point.
Hang on a sec, I'll look.
I'm looking into it right now.
That Machinima was anti, and they don't say much about it, but they're not leaning pro.
I just pulled up a first story I found. Shots fired from Machinima towards Bro Team Pill.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now.
Okay.
But it's a forum. It's not an actual article.
It isn't. It's a off-topic forum on The Escapist. I'm seeing if I can find an actual some form of actual documentation to support this claim. Other than that, all I can find is stuff on 8chan. I guess I'll leave it for now and maybe talk about it on the next one, because I can't seem to find decent enough sources right now. At least not decent enough where I can actually would be comfortable saying yes, this is the real deals just yet. But yeah, the dev interviews with Bro Team Pill, to everyone listening and to everyone in here, yeah, worth having a listen into.
Okay.
Check them out; they're good. Does anyone else have anything to add for that? If not,
no.
move on.
Move on.
Yep. Okay, so next up we have Disturbed. Ooh, ah, 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 coming out as being pro Gamergate. At least the singer is, although we haven't heard anything from the rest of the band. I guess this also ties into hashtag Metalgate as well, given the band's genre. So I guess we can talk about 2 in 1. So,
Metalgate.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Metalgate and Disturbed being pro Gamergate.
I'm really torn around Metalgate because Metalgate really, we're seeing the metal press do basically the same as the video game press, but I haven't really seen any specific actual, Gamergate isn't really about the political aspect of it. It's really actually about backroom deals, collusion. Make devs of products being too close to the press.
Well, Gamergate seems to be that, as well as media sources pushing a specific story and not being open about this is this is the kind of website we are, this is the kind of narrative we push. For example, Polygon came out recently saying that I say recently, it's a pretty long time ago now, saying that we are a progressive website. And I mean, great that they did that, but we should have known that earlier. And I see Gamergate also combating that, which I think is a good thing. Just generally more transparency between the reviewer and the review reader. So
what I mean is in Metalgate, I haven't really seen any of that, any real corruption instances or proven cases of corruption.
But
no proving yet. It's early days.
What I have seen of Metalgate on Twitter is that it's actually more of a preventive strike more than an actual defense. Like Gamergate.
Basically, it seems to be a lot of metal listeners, myself included, have seen these this documentation coming out and have basically said, wait a minute, this is just like the Gamergate crap that happened. Let's shut this down now before it gets any further.
And for a while there was something called Comicgate, which is essentially the same thing but with comics.
Yep.
Yes, but with Metalgate, all I really saw is the modus operandi seems to be the exact same one. The first things written about Metalgate were that it is a reactionary backlash against the progress of the metal scene, and how toxic behavior in the metal scene and the fighting game scene has to be erased to make it more inclusive for more demographics.
But here is my thought on progressivism or something like that. Is that progress depends on the individual that we are talking about. Everybody has different views about society and what is best for society. So if you come out and say, I am progressive because of X, another person can easily come and say, I am progressive because of Y. And it's essentially the same problem.
And both would be equally valid.
Exactly.
From an objective point of view, because who's to say that one person's right and one person's wrong?
Yes, but you're doing this from a rational mindset. We're talking about authoritarians. The kinds that say, we know what's best for you. We know what progress is. So we are the progressives.
I mean, if bullying current gamers is called progressive, then I'm definitely not progressive. Because
it's the ends justify the means. They think that if you bully out all the current gamers, then other gamers will replace them from those new demographics.
Yeah.
But of course, it's flawed because it's based on completely off topics assumptions that by the very supposed proof have been proven wrong. So it's all going to fall apart eventually, even if it succeeds. And since we're all about progressivity and in Metalgate, I've also seen they've also displayed the standard knee-jerk not your shield reaction. Publishing stuff on how homosexuals are demonized and ostracized and are hated in the metal community, and how faggot is proof as a often used word is proof of that.
Well, I being part of the metal group quite a lot, being musician and all that. Yes, the word faggot is used quite a bit, but it has a completely different definition inside of that movement. I mean, you're talking about a movement where the word faggot is used repeatedly in order to insult and degrade us. And I'm going to use the word us because, I'm part of the metal movement. And because of that, we've decided to co-opt that word, make it our own, and use it as a term of endearment. Same with black people and the word nigger. We call each other faggots fags because it's a way for us to show that we have a common understanding about bullying, about the shit that we've been through, and about the passion that we have for our genre of music through the amount of abuse that we've received through it and because of it.
Well, there is a little piece of argument advice here for all those who listen to this eventually, and that is when you're told that, when you're given that argument, that faggot being used as a slur or as something you call people, that means that the society within metal is homophobic. Then you can always give out just what Jacob said, and you can always go back with claiming that, or not just claiming, but deducing that this kind of conclusion is very superficial. It just looks at what are people saying, and deduces from that with no bit of context at all.
No, it takes no context to why we're saying it, and it gives no nuance to the relationships that, let's say, I go up to a good friend of mine in a bar and call him a motherfucker. That can be taken one of two very different ways. I mean, me and him, I might be really good friends with him, and he might take it as a joke and we could laugh about it. Or it could be taken completely the other way if I have no idea who this guy is and he's a stranger and he could end up punching me in the face. It does not account for personal relationships, and it does not account for nuance. It's a binary, this is bad, this is objectively bad, so you need to stop it now because it offends my feelings.
But who cares about your feelings? I mean, a lot of people have proven to be oversensitive about the most ridiculous stuff.
Oh yeah, it's quite ridiculous. Some of the things that people get offended about nowadays.
And this shows basically that when you are speaking, what's most important is the meaning that you give the word and not the word itself. I'm gonna give you an example. In my country, the word faggot has essentially replaced the word dude. So we call everyone faggot.
Where are you from?
I am from a third world country, and I won't dox myself.
Fair enough.
So essentially,
the country you can say no one is going to deduce who you are from a several million people country.
Yeah, but
if he's not comfortable with it, then
actually, yes. I have revealed from where I am in another live streams, but I'm gonna keep it a secret in this one.
Fair enough. No worries.
Okay, but Yeah, when you are talking to someone, it's most important the meaning of the word that you are giving the word and not the word itself,
Hmm.
right? So when I'm with a friend and I call him a pussy, that doesn't really mean that he's actually a pussy. He is it's just the way I call him. That's just one of examples of an
Yeah.
example.
Words don't have in meaning in of themselves. It's the people that put the meaning into the words.
Yeah, exactly.
I would agree
What
with
I was
that.
getting at that the way that the metal community is actually, I thought the way the metal community is, how it basically cultivates these hyper manly men, that this must actually be a very attractive field for homosexuals, at least
That
male
was,
homosexuals.
but that is a lie because there are a lot of females in metal bands.
And there are lots and lots and lots of very effeminate men within metal. We just don't show it. I mean, I know more metalheads who are willing to walk around with colourful balloons attached to their wrists than I know of techno fans or punk rock fans. We put on the we put on the black makeup, we put on the dark clothes, but if you're gonna try and have a laugh with anyone, then metalheads are the way to go because we are happy to take the piss out of ourselves and we're happy to not take ourselves seriously. And I think that's one reason, like you said, Victor, about why it's so appealing for homosexuals. At least that's one of the reasons I would imagine it would be very, very appealing for homosexuals, given the fact
But
that we are
I
willing to
don't.
just joke
Let's
around.
let's just assume that all of Metalgate is legitimate. You know, that there is a legitimate problem, and that there
Hmm.
probably are backroom deals going on that we just haven't found out about yet. Um,
Okay.
what would let's assume that it works similarly to this whole Silver String Digra thing. What would their motive be? Why, of all things, metal? Uh, why not something less, um, something less prone to resist, and something less niche?
Yeah. I. I. Honestly, I don't think if there's going to be a big conspiracy within the game, within the metal movement, I don't think it'll be the same sort of thing that we see in gaming. And I don't think it'll be the same because of a couple of reasons. One, and the main one being money. There is just straight up more money floating around in the gaming movement, and the gaming movement is a much newer industry. It's not an industry that has been going for very long when you compare it to the music industry. Yeah, I think if there's going to be a conspiracy going on in the music industry, it's going to be very different, and it's going to be it's going to be much harder to spot, especially after Gamergate. I mean, everyone will be covering their tracks right now, especially within the metal scene, given that Metalgate has just come out.
And the fact that Metalgate seems to focus only on the metal gender,
Mm.
while Gamergate focus on gaming as a whole. So it's a much broader and wider field of action.
But not Gone Home. That's not a game.
Yes, but why? What I mean is, why metal? Why of all things? Why would they pick if there was something in the background going on like that? Why would they pick metal? Why would they not pick something? I don't know, like photography
Well,
or what other hobbies are there?
well, I can tell you from being in the music industry myself that when it comes to fans, metal fans are much different to fans of other genres of music. In the fact that they will be more dedicated to a band than, let's say, a fan of a techno person. I don't know what you call them. I guess not a band because it's one guy. But Skrillex, for example, a Skrillex fan is less likely to go out and tour the world with the band, following the band from country to country, buying all the shirts, buying all the DVDs, than a metal fan. metal fans garner a much more deep emotional connection with the bands that they listen to, because a lot of metal bands sing about very, very fucked up shit that's happened in their life, and a lot of people feel a closeness to the bands because of this. I mean, you just can't get that closeness from
So
a techno track.
So you think if there was something going on, then it would be more of a cultural Marxism thing, that they hope to influence the people through this emotional connection.
Influence the people through it, and also, honestly, I hope it's not that sinister. I hope they just think, oh, these fans are really dedicated, we can make some money off that.
That
I
was
hope that's all
what I
it
was
is.
more suspecting.
Yeah, I hope that's what it is.
And in Metalgate defense, and this is basically coming from an outsider, because even though I really like some metal bands, I am not part of the metal community. But
Yeah.
the fact, there are a few facts that I have seen that basically show that the metal gender is considered something less in comparison to other genders. Like, for example, a pop culture, a pop band winning that just came out, winning a contest against a more seasoned band, a more seasoned metal band that has been in the market for years and years. So I really think that that metal fans feel discriminated inside the music industry and in the music community as a whole. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think.
I don't think I'd know enough about this particular area to comment on it.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm finding it very difficult to hear you guys right now. I think there's a lag on my end or something. If I drop suddenly, I apologize.
Okay. Anarchism, the real story of Paris. Damn it, it's all true. Okay. Something thing. You remember you mentioned last time that we might be talking about feminism next time again, and I said actually no, but in the worst case, Jonathan McIntosh is going to do something again.
Yes, and
Well,
yeah. Well, you
there is a topic.
You linked me to that perfect piece about old Johnny Boy. I'll let you take the honours here. Honestly, I think that you deserve it.
Okay. That was on Reddit.
Yes.
I think it's been for a brief moment be going around on Facebook, and that's through the web archive. You can find Jonathan McIntosh's old blog. And the thing is, he has always been a political radical. He just wasn't always left. Before the early 2000s, he seemed to be a right winger, and I mean really the Alex Jones kind of right winger. The one that makes up all sorts of stuff of how the political left is conspiring to fake an assassination on Obama or all these kinds of stories. And how Pirates of the Caribbean is just to influence the people. I don't know. The leftist lounge takes off in Boston, and yes, tons and tons and tons of stories.
How come Jonathan McIntosh is not considered a man-hater right now?
Well, he is by a lot of people.
Because he's a man. Because he's not a man-hater. But he is this self-loathing kind of catatonic feminist.
Yes, but apparently we can still have misogynist feminists. We can't have misandrist men, but we can still have misogynist feminists. Explain this to me. We can have women that hate women, but we're not allowed to have men that hate men.
Well, I think misandrist feminists puts things a bit too roughly. I can imagine that there
Oh
are
no, sorry,
feminists that
misogynist feminists. What I meant to say.
I can imagine that there are feminists that do sort of bring up ideas through which they start loathing the fact that they are women. You know, if you're constantly telling yourself and are told by others that being a man is the easy setting on real life, then of course at some point you're going and you believe that. Then of course at some point you're going to hate being that.
But
Not being a man.
would you say there's a difference between hating being a woman and hatred of women? Because I definitely would see a clear distinction there, personally.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So
What I meant is he used to be the link is there. The link goes to the web archive version of his blog. He used to be a full red pill right winger, and during the 2000s seemed to have some sort of epiphany in which he just went completely either went full circle or made a full 180.
Sorry, what was it?
He met Anita. And
yeah, he met Anita and
made this scheme.
Well, you know, the magical vagina it works in mysterious ways. I mean, we can't fully understand.
I'm not sure, but as of yet, I think he is. I think the whole feminist frequency thing is actually his doing mostly, and Anita Sarkeesian is just sort of latching onto it.
Oh yeah, Anita Sarkeesian's a figurehead for him. I mean, we knew that already.
And a question, guys: does he refer in his old blog as a white male because right now he's considering himself as a Latino somehow? I don't know how, but
what?
Does.
Wait, Jonathan McIntosh considers himself Latino.
Yes.
Jonathan McIntosh.
I wish I was kidding because I am a Latino, but no, he actually said that.
Jonathan McIntosh, if he's actually Latino, then I'm sorry guys, I'm actually a woman. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ.
Nope, sorry, I don't give into pressure to that kind of social pressure.
But has he referred in his old blog? Has he referred to his race in his old blog?
I don't know. I haven't read every article in his blog. A lot of the stuff doesn't exist in the Internet Archive.
Well, people listening, go and find the news. See if he actually refers to his gender, and if he refers to himself as being Latino. If not, send that to me because I want to see that.
To his gender, he at least admits to in this 25 privileges of a male gamer video.
That's nonsense.
Oh god, that video. Ugh.
Let me tell you something about gender in gaming. It's only relevant when you make it relevant. That's it.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes, the whole tits or get the fuck out thing.
There are actually a lot of male gamers that play as a female character. So that proves that gender doesn't have to do anything with gaming.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can tell you that I've played many MMOs, and the females on my team, we didn't care. But anyway, you were going to say something, Victor?
It's really just a lot of that video is really just bonkers. It's
oh god, yeah.
It's JFK, 9/11, and conspiracy theories. That sounds interesting. Let's look into that.
Oh, you going through the blog right now?
Yes.
Ooh.
Some reason, all sorts of articles.
Let's see what you can
it's
find.
Not there anymore. It's not there anymore. This is all stuff from 2003 to 2004. This is age-old stuff. Stuff that probably isn't there anymore. But the thing is, yes, he used to be how the left is how the political left, and I really mean the Democrats, the moderates, are conspiring to control everything, and how some pro-Palestinian articles and darkness past, or has it? I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Either way. There were some more paranoid headlines, but yes, he was always been a radical. It's really just the alignment he changed.
And the thing with being radical about anything is the fact that being radical can be quite dangerous because I have seen many radicals that consider themselves as some kind of the one that has the right answer to everything. So radicals tend to reject every sort of disagreement with them.
I guess it's fair to say he's just a radical. I mean, he's not a radical left or a radical right. It just depends on what day of the week it is. He's just a radical.
No, is the most convenient narrative that dictates that.
Whichever
The
one makes him
the thing
the most
is,
money.
in economics, there is an alternate definition for ideologues or ideologies, and that is that an ideologue will deny what assumptions he makes his research with. For instance, with the assumptions we always make is that every person in the economy is rational and will always do what is best for business.
Yes, that's one thing that I do think we get wrong.
That's not always quite true, because, for instance, if you have someone who wants to open a barber shop, and he's going to open it where he lives, he's not going to open it where he has the highest profit margin, simply because it's more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And and Macintosh is, as well as all radicals, always make assumptions that they then deny. They always pretend that everything else doesn't exist. That's why they.
Jonathan McIntosh has said pretty bad things about some minorities that he belongs to, like males, whites, and other stuff.
Yeah. Well, he follows the.
Are men and white people the minority? Is that the question? Is that the thing?
No, but there is a thing about being a minority, and the fact that you are a minority doesn't mean that you deserve special treatment. If you are a minority in a vulnerable state, that's different.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone,
all part
including minorities, deserve equal opportunities. It does not mean equal treatment.
It's part of ideology. It's really just part of ideology. It's part of an artificial narrative, and that is, and the reason why in social justice some minorities think that they deserve more, is because it all comes down to that they think they are owed. That for some people in that extreme of the spectrum, they go out of their way to do what they can to rewrite history, and say these and that have always been oppressed and persecuted and the like. So they are owed.
Yeah, I like that you brought up the fact that people feel owed this. I do think that's definitely an idea that goes along with this whole thing.
And as an example, because that makes for a good segue for the next topic, I'd like to bring up black social justice warriors specifically.
Black social justice warriors?
Often American blacks, usually. And because their side of that narrative is that due to slavery in the States, blacks have been and there has been some revision historically around slavery that founds all that. Whites have always oppressed blacks for centuries, and therefore the white race as a whole owes the black race as a whole.
That's ridiculous. That's basically, oh my god. That's basically trying to promote an argument that was valid decades ago and try to apply it in modern times.
Well, not just that. Firstly, it's very America-centric, because I don't know about Jacob, but I can for myself say safely, my ancestors, all of them, never ever had one single black slave. ever.
I can say to my ancestry, no, except my grandmother was racist, mostly against Asian people, but yeah, that I can admit to, and my parents found it horrific.
And even if I have white skin, why should I owe people for something that neither I have done nor any of my ancestors has?
And in my country, there is a lot of mixing in the race, right? So everybody is part Latino, part black, part Indian, part white, and stuff.
Well, yeah, I have
I
Indian
never really
blood in
got
me.
I never really got the gist of Latinos. Always, somehow you have you're genetically
La-
partly Asian because
Latinos are basically I think I could be wrong, are essentially the descendants of the European colonies that eventually made with Indians. And
doing Red
they're,
Indians. Or
yeah.
okay, but that's not black. That's Asian.
No,
Red
it's
Indians are
not.
Asian.
It's
No,
not Asian. It's
American Indians, not
yeah, American
Indian
Indians.
Indians.
Yes, I mean Red Indian. I mean American Indians. American Indians are genetically Mongolian. They're Asians. They're like Chinese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They went over along a huge ice surface thousands of years ago and traveled from East Asia to America. That's how they got there.
I did not know that. So, we've learnt something today.
And then some say that Latinos are black too, and they're European because of the Spanish having been there. And I'm just always confused about the genetic components of Latinos.
So basically, we come to a conclusion that the Latinos are a little bit of everything, sort of mixed into one Latino person.
Genetically, pretty much, yes.
Well, I know I have Asian
Unless-
heritage, and I know that I personally don't think that that part of me feels that the white part of me owes it anything. So the whole idea.
Well,
of
that's because India, India, the Middle Eastern India, that's genetically also actually white. They just adapted to the sun later on. That's a
So
whole
I'm-
completely different topic.
Oh, I'm more white than I realized, guys. I gotta go flagellate myself.
That's why I always get so upset when I see people on the Tumblr complaining about cultural appropriation and how this white people is oppressing Indians because Indians are totally the blacks. No. You just adapted to the sun over a short period of a few thousand years.
Fuck the whole idea of cultural appropriation. Like, stupid idea.
Oh, is this real?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
No,
actual
no.
Tumblr.
I mean, what I'm reading right now, it says that Hermione Granger's younger sibling is supporting Gamergate.
Oh,
Wait, you mean
please?
Emma Watson?
Link now, please.
I find that frightening.
Check it in the chat.
Yeah.
Send it in the chat because what?
Give me a second. Give me a second, guys, please.
God.
Wasn't Emma Watson the one that held that long UN speech
Yeah.
on how women need to be empowered by men?
Yes, exactly. Women are strong, powerful, independent women, but we need men to help.
There.
Wait, I find this hard to believe that.
Well, do we have confirmation that that person? Okay, hang on. What?
Not your shield, okay? That's weird. She's gonna get a lot of backlash.
Well, she might not fully understand exactly what Not Your Shield is.
No, she has a Twitter account with the blog number and everything.
And the colors of Gamergate and okay. It's weird.
Look, 818. Can we confirm this person is legit? Like her sister, not just like a troll account or
I'll remember the name, but let's see. How long does it exist?
Oh wait, no, this was. She was on with Hot Wheels, wasn't she? On
Really?
Al Jazeera.
Where?
On
Oh.
Al Jazeera, wasn't she?
Yes, I think.
2818? That was the same account anyway. I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay. We'll remember that.
Hang on a sec.
Speaking of cultural appropriation, we have to make a Tumblrism.
Oh my
edition
god,
one day.
I have actually met this person in another live stream.
Oh really?
What the hell is going on?
What have we found? How far does this hole go?
Yes,
See
we've
how
got
far
to do.
down the rabbit hole goes. Okay, let's see if I can find the Al Jazeera. See if I can get this to load up again, and see if I can figure out if this is.
We'll just put the link in the description afterwards.
I'll check it on Twitter as well.
And we've got to do a Tumblrisms edition one day.
Oh yeah, we do.
And
She appeared in America Tonight. This
This chick.
the Brooke girl.
Brooke.
Okay. I just find this very confusing. She must be getting a lot of backlash then.
She must be. Interesting.
On the other hand, she's well, okay. Being a girl doesn't exactly protect you, as we've seen with Jennifer Dorr, but she's related to celebrity, so I guess she's safe. Nothing gonna happen to her.
More safe than.
I am going to assume that she is not the sibling of a Hermione Granger. For the sake of my sanity, because it just blows my mind.
If that's true, then that's huge. But I'm treating that with a huge amount of skepticism right now until we get more proof supporting that claim. Because right now we just have a picture of two girls who look kind of similar. Like, that's all the evidence that we've got so far.
We'll look into that afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
and anyone listening, please do as well.
I brought up the blacks as an example because part of the social justice narrative regarding the blacks is that slavery has always been an act of racial subordination. You know, the white race has subordinated the black race and enslaved it. What really happened in real life was that there were firstly there were savages on the land, and there were war captives, you know, of African warlords that were just sold to white traders who then sold them in auctions on the ports.
Well,
it's always been an economic practice in real life.
A lot of slaves, from my understanding of slavery, which is quite limited, so again might be wrong. My understanding is a lot of slaves were actually sold into slavery by other black people, sold to white people to then put on auction. So
that was how they were acquired through trade. It's always been an economic practice, but there are people who are revisionists, radical left revisionists, who
are basically
keep making
erase that little bit.
Who prefer painting that as a race thing, as a fight between the races.
Well,
and that's why black social justice warriors believe they are owed.
Didn't the old like African tribes, didn't they hold to slavery way before they even encountered white people? You know, when the tribes would have fights amongst each other.
Probably, I don't know. There were bigger communities that had slaves, you know, war captives that were then sold to white people. That's how they came to be slaves.
If there's any historians that happen to listen to this, hit me up. I have questions.
Look all this up, can confirm it, and that would be all helpful when we get to that. But why I brought up blacks is because regarding the blacks, there is a topic, an off-topic topic that is actually in a way related to Gamergate.
Okay.
in terms of certain parallels, and that is this whole Black Lives Matter thing.
Ah, yes, and then people changed it to All Lives Matter, and then there was some drama about that.
The thing is, I find it really saddening that of all the people, it's the masses that demand to make this a race thing, because what I see in this whole Black Lives Matter thing is basically just the conspiracy all over again.
I do think it's definitely a race issue when it comes to the Ferguson shooting and generally the amount of... I honestly think genuine racism that happens towards black people by certain members of the police force, I don't think is honestly
I think it's
extreme as some people paint.
I think it's the conspiracy all over again. It's people establishing a certain culture. That would be the game devs and the game press or the police force, in which everyone protects their own, and then one person does something unacceptable, completely unacceptable, and the masses call for his head, and all the other people in that culture rush to his aid, rush to protect him.
Well, we saw that with the Ferguson case with the prosecutor, didn't we?
Yes.
The prosecutor who was gaining funds directly through a pro-police website that was in turn gaining donations from a I support Officer Darren Wilson t-shirts sort of sale that was going on. And that was the head prosecutor that decided whether or not to prosecute Officer D.
Yes.
So there's definitely
and I really think that there is a problem in which we allow different communities to be too protective of themselves and to shield people from consequences for their own actions.
And and that happens everywhere with every community. It's not just a matter of race.
And if that was solved,
it does happen everywhere, but you can't deny that it's not. It doesn't disproportionately happen to black males. Like there is definitely something going on.
This is a racism caused by tendency. That's more what I believe. And I think if the police were held accountable, if the Americans started to hold the police accountable for what they do, and that means if you shoot an unarmed teenager, then you go to jail, a full life sentence.
It's either that or you better have a fucking good reason for doing so. Like,
there's a good look.
But imagine if that same officer shoot a black teenager instead of a white one, and instead he gets the death sentence. How is not that discrimination?
That discrimination is there, but I'm convinced it's through tendency. But
I think it is, and I would also say that I would say, do I think that Officer D. Wilson should go to jail? I don't think any of us know enough about the situation to judge that, and honestly, I only think a few people do. That being the prosecutor, and that being Officer D. Wilson himself. I don't think anyone else has enough information to fully just judge the situation.
I disagree because what was his name? Mike Brown. I don't think it's really relevant what Mike Brown did before he got shot, because he was a teenager, he didn't have a gun, and he was outnumbered. There were two policemen, right? So it doesn't matter because Darren Wilson is a full-grown man.
At the end of the day, you're chasing somebody down. The jewelry store's just been robbed. You're chasing somebody. You don't know whether the guy's armed. And as far as I know from the story, he turned around, had his hands in the air, and continued walking towards the police officer even when told not to, and then was shot. That's my understanding of it. Now, that says to me that he was not complying with the police officer. The police officer did not know at the time whether he was armed or not, and he acted accordingly. Now, do I think that he should automatically go to jail? No. I do think there should be a court case, and if it turns out that he did not follow proper procedure, fuck yeah, I think he should go to jail. but I think he should go through the legal system first. I don't think we should call for his head, but I do think we should call for an ethical view into the case and for all the facts to be brought to the table and for this to be dealt with in a calm and civilized manner.
Yes.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate, even though I don't believe in what I'm about to say. But some people consider the system racial or gender specific. Yeah. So to those people engaging this debate inside the legal system will prove to be disbeneficial for them, because they believe that the system itself it's racial.
I would say that the court system is less racial than some, out on the streets with a gun to the guy's head. I think there's less chance that the guy will end up in jail than shot. When you take it on a case-by-case basis, I know how that sounds, and it sounds wrong even as I'm saying it. I'm trying to find a way to word it better. I think the court case is more fair and less hot-headed because, you've got a bunch of people who've actually got time to sit down and think about whether or not the person's guilty rather than working on high adrenaline situation with a gun in his hand.
But even then, there are cases where stuff is documented with videos. There are other cases where misconduct happens. Of course, it happens more to blacks than white people. Partially that's due to tendency, partially that's due to racism, which I think comes from tendency. But the problem is, how is it in Great Britain when police conduct themselves wrongly? Just shoot people just to be sure because people are too much of a bother. What do you do?
Well, I can tell you right now that the police aren't armed with firearms in the UK. So the idea that I could rob a place and then get shot by a police officer, I'd get shot with a taser or at worst riot rounds. I would not get killed. Unless I actively killed myself or made it so that the police had no other option other than to strangle me to death or something. It wouldn't happen.
Yes, but what happens to a policeman when it does happen?
When it does happen, they go through the legal system, as far as I'm aware. It hasn't happened recently, so there's no been any recent cases of it that I'm aware of. But as far as I know, they go through the legal system. They go through the courts. They find out if it was valid and judge it accordingly.
In Germany, if you do that as a policeman, firstly you don't have to have a full functional firearm around. Something that substitutes it, like a taser, for instance, is enough. And the thing is, if someone does conduct themselves excessively, then firstly a full civil case is made, and before that, they are stripped of their license. They can no longer be policemen after that.
Even if it's
suicide to your career.
Well, yeah, and I would say that is a totally valid use of punishment.
In the States, when something happens, then all that happens is that the precinct pays a fine to the family of whoever they shot this time, and that's it. And sometimes the policeman even gets paid vacation for it.
Yeah,
so
I think
of course they're going to do it over and over and over and over.
I think that's a bunch of BS in my opinion. But I mean.
So if those were held accountable, for once, if the same would happen to those as like in Europe, then they'd be a lot more hesitant to firstly treat all people and especially blacks with this kind of paranoia, and secondly they'd be a lot more hesitant to do stuff like, oh, that person is whining too much, let's just shoot him in the head. And yes, that has actually happened.
Well, if you look in the situation in Ireland right now, saying that, I'm going over to Ireland on Monday, so wish me luck. The situation in Ireland right now is crazy. There's riots all over the place, and you can see genuine police brutality there as well. Although no one's been killed yet, there has been plenty of fractured skulls and broken bones. I don't know if you guys are aware of what's going on in Ireland right now with the water charges.
Is it still with the Christians? Is it still with
No.
the
This is the water charges.
Oh.
Basically, Ireland's saying that, okay, we're going to charge you twice for your water bill. Once that goes to the government, second time that goes to a private contractor that deals with water purification. So basically, they want to privatize what should be a utility in Ireland and still get money from it.
Then they're lucky. In Germany, that's already happened. Just happened it snuck its way through.
Well, it's not stuck its way through in Ireland, and there are mass riots going on right now. It's not very pleasant, and there's been tons of accounts of, and proper video evidence of police brutality that's happened there, and yeah.
Really, I didn't know the Irish get so aggressive about that kind of stuff.
Hey man, IRA.
Extreme. Okay.
Remember,
yes,
guys, this is a GG live stream, for God's sake.
Yes. Sorry.
What I meant is this is another example for the Black Lives Matter thing is another example for how it is harmful when people are protected just because they're part of a certain small culture.
Well, it's natural because every community
you want to protect your own.
Yes, there is always an air of brotherhood in every community you go. Mm-hmm. So I find it quite natural that people want to defend their fellow members, but this is a big but. When you know that one of your people have screwed up, you shouldn't make it a case of misogyny or make it a case of racism or try to derail that debate into another direction.
Agreed. Well, to bring this back completely to Gamergate, before everyone just stops listening, let's talk about our favourite lady of Gamergate and
Mercedes,
the beautiful Mercedes Carrera.
Yes.
Okay.
And her charity live stream that she's going to be doing.
And Ably Gamers.
Yeah, well, Able Gamers decided to leave the stream due to the fact. Well, first they said yes, we'll do it. You know, we've worked with adult performers before. That'll be fine. No worries. Then a bunch of anti-Gamergaters decided to mass email them saying, you know, they're weaponizing charities. You're just going to be used by them to push their agenda. At which point, and Able Gamers got scared and decided to pull out.
No, wait. Is that there is a lot of misinformation about this particular subject, and since I am a disabled in real life, I follow it quite thoroughly.
Oh, okay.
So this is what happened. Mercedes Carrera wanted to make a charity based on a live porn live cam or something like that. I am not sure, but this at first didn't have to do anything with Gamergate. She just wanted to give a charity some money, and she said in an interview with David Pacman that the reason why she chose that specific charity was because she met a lot of good disabled people in Gamergate, but this was not about Gamergate. So when Mercedes Mercedes didn't handle the charity herself because she was very busy. There were some other people that organized it. So on the day that that everything fell apart, there was a lot of misinformation because some people believed that the reason why able gamers were backtracking were backing out of the charity was because of Gamergate. That's just technically true. They released a statement on Nietzsche Gamer saying that they just don't wanna be saying essentially that they don't wanna support any side of
They
this
want to be neutral.
discussion.
They want
Yeah,
to stay neutral.
they want to stay neutral to ensure that the people that they protect or they defend and don't get harassed out of their lives, which is a statement that I completely respect.
I respect the statement. I don't like the fact that Anti-Gamergate made that charity event about Gamergate. It
But
had nothing to do with it, like you said, and
yeah,
Anti-Gamergate made it about Gamergate, and that's what made the charity leave.
They also in their letter to Carrera they wrote that telephone. In
Telephone.
their letter to Carrera they wrote that they are a social justice charity,
but
among other
social
things.
social justice on itself is not bad.
Yeah, social justice by itself doesn't mean anything.
I take clear issue with that. That's like saying People's Republic isn't bad.
Well, I don't know
You know,
enough
like
about
the
that
People's
in order
Republic
to
of
make
China,
a judgment, but
People's Republic of North Korea.
well, no, you got to treat it from the ideology itself. You got to be able to detach the ideology from the people. For example, there's nothing wrong with feminism as an ideology, but there is a lot wrong with feminists. There's nothing wrong with social justice as an ideology. The idea that, okay, we sort of include and accept everybody for who they are. I'm down with that. But it's when people take it one step further and they go, okay, well, you're normal, so hence you've got to accept everybody no matter what. You've got to completely just accept whatever they say, listen and believe, and they take the ideology and they take it one step further. I don't think there's anything wrong with the ideology, with the message of social justice. I do think there's something wrong with how it's been warped and twisted into social justice warriors.
Can I add
Well,
on?
no. Social
Can
justice. Social justice really is the ideology. It's this Marxist originating ideology that we're having problems with partially, and if able gamers decided to adopt that label, that clearly hints at them turning down the willingness to participate in the charity for reasons other than just, as they put it, fear of being used as a pawn in a chess game.
Well,
Because essentially they made themselves a pawn in a chess game by
But-
taking a stance against Gamergate.
let me add on something. They in the statement that they released, they say that they will take any funds from both sides. But the fact that that the charity itself was so public and so heated up because of anti-Gamergate that they had to back out.
I doubt it. I think there was partially the emails, and I think there was something going on behind. They were probably gonna lose some big money supporter. Or either that, or they were generally being threatened to be smeared.
I think that might be part of it. The threat of being smeared. For a charity, that is quite a big thing.
That is everything, really. That is everything.
But
Because if the charity, if they turn down money, a charity is about collecting money, and they're turning it down. That means either they're really getting so much from somewhere else, or
They feel that this will end up being the last paycheck if they took it.
Oh, but let me tell you about social work, not social justice, but social work. Your biggest enemy is not your opposition or something like that, is politics. Because a lot of people want to make your work, your social work, be defined by a specific ideology or a specific way of doing things. I'm gonna give you an example. I made a social work for a minority group years ago, and that went terrible, not because people were not supporting it, but because politicians were basically fighting over it, and they want to define the work that we were doing.
What do you mean they wanted to define the work you were doing?
They wanted to make our group, for example, conservative or liberal.
They
Yeah?
wanted to politicize the charity. Wait. That doesn't really answer the question. What was the problem with it if you get the money for it?
Because we were not political. We were just
Yes.
we were just helping people. So if these politicians were saying that we were something that we weren't, we were getting a lot of backlash from nothing.
Yeah, the problem with politicizing a charity is if you're a charity and then all of a sudden you start being affiliated with the Conservatives, all of a sudden the entire Liberal base that were, let's say, half of your donations, all of a sudden they stop donating to you. It can be quite
Yeah,
crippling.
exactly. That's essentially what happened.
Because I don't see. I personally think that the stance you take is more is only expressed when you're a charity in what money you turn down rather than what money you take. You take what you can get, regardless of where it comes from.
But that's true. But I think that you need to add something. It's not the money you accept. It's why you don't accept some money.
And it's
Yeah?
also what you do with it. It's also what you
Yes,
do.
exactly.
Because, for instance, the fine young capitalists, right? They're feminists. But the
Oh yeah,
thing
they're
is,
radical feminists. I disagree with them on lots of points.
they even call themselves radical feminists. But the thing is, they're feminists, and yet they accepted donations of what turned out to be Gamergate because
Because
they
they
would
they
they,
they
they
were
don't
willing to accept the heat, right?
they didn't care where the money came from. They just wanted the money.
Well, they pretty much came out in support of Gamergate, which surprised me, because, I mean, it's them that made up Vivian James, pretty much, wasn't
They let us do anything with Vivian.
it?
The thing
There
is,
is even porn of Vivian, for God's sake.
they more or less were forced to be pro Gamergate because they were exposed to all these to these really severe instances of back and forth with them and Zoe Quinn. You know, it's always Zoe Quinn asks them to be nice, and then she goes on to do something to try and destroy them
But
again.
Zoe Quinn
And
did
the same thing
something
happening over
terrible
and
for
over.
them.
Oh yeah, Zoe Quinn was a dick to them.
And
Yes.
they tried over and over to accept to come to good terms with her, and I think just in mid Gamergate times up until now, on the way in between, they eventually gave up completely and said, okay, we can't come to good terms with her. She's constantly going to stab us in the back over and over.
Well, yeah, every time they went out and they tried to garner support from other people as well. And this is what was really heartbreaking to me when it comes to the Fine Young Capitalists, because I have a lot of respect for them, even though I really disagree with some of their ideas. They kept going out and saying, like, hey, we're a charity looking for donations, yada, 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 the usual stuff. And people go, oh, well, Zoe Quinn says you're sexist, so you must be sexist. And they go, no, we're feminists. Like, we're not sexist at all. They go, oh, well, you should donate to Zoe Quinn's fundraiser for her Rebel Jam that has no fucking date for when it's going to happen and no proof that it's ever going to happen. And that'll prove to us that you're not sexist. It's like, what?
Well, that's extortion then, isn't it?
That's basically anti-GG logic.
It's extortion then.
And,
It really is.
I wanted to say something. I don't think the fine young capitalists were forced to support Gamergate. I think a lot of we can agree with a lot of things that the fine young capitalists believe, like the fact that women need to make their space in the gaming industry because of merit and not just because of not just because they are women.
Yeah, they're not going to get in because of boobs. The fact is, the gaming industry is an extremely hard industry to get into for everyone. You want in? Guess what happens? You need to fucking work. You need to sit down, you need to code, you need to make a game. That's what it takes. It takes hard work. I would never get in because I'm a lazy fucker.
And
But
GG
that's what
and
it
G, and GG is not.
I didn't mean that Gamergate forced them to be pro Gamergate. I mean that anti-Gamergate more or less forced them to be pro Gamergate.
Anti-Gamergate forced
because-
them to either be pro-Gamergate or to disappear, and at the end of the day, they didn't seem like the kind of people who would disappear.
Do you remember the Gamer X situation?
The Gamer
Yes.
X.
Yes.
I don't.
Do you remember?
I do not.
Robin
Let
R.
me-
Not.
Let
Oh,
me give
okay,
you
then you
go on.
let me give you a small summary. Gamer X is essentially a group of gay gamers. Yeah.
Oh.
So they came out and say we are neutral in this discussion. We don't care if you are Gamergate or not. We accept every gay gamer there is, right? And anti-GG came and bullied the hell out of GamerX. It came out so badly that they say that the employee that stated our previous tweets was wrong, and we publicly condemn Gamergate, despite the fact that we didn't have done anything to GamerX.
Well, it's like Boogie. Boogie came out. Boogie from YouTube came out as being neutral on the whole issue, and then he was bullied into the Gamergate side by anti-Gamergate. He came out, and I felt so bad for the guy, saying that, like, you know, he's being harassed so badly, and I just wanted to message him and go, yeah, it's not Gamergate bullying you, is it? It's not us. It's them.
No, I have to add, he was not bullied on the Gamergate side. He was bullied out of the discussion because Boogie cannot say the word Gamergate right now without being harassed out of his life. I mean,
no, he can't, and
his
it's
wife was harassed in real life, for God's sake.
The thing is also, I think he was threatened with some legal claims too.
Really?
And
For
silenced
what?
that way.
What law did he break?
I'm not quite sure. It was something. It has something to do with license and copyrights. Not really sure what it was, but basically certain people that he was positively affiliated with, and with of whom he depends on as a YouTuber, were threatening to no longer be dependable.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to back out of Gamergate because he was pro Gamergate for a while.
I don't think it takes much to think that he still is pro Gamergate, even if he's not vocal about it. It's just, yeah. When he first came out, he was neutral though. Because
But
he was first talking about it.
back to pay my Patreon or else. Speaking of extortion, the big topic. What do you refer to as the big topic?
Oh yes.
Linus
The-
Tech Tips.
Well, not just Linus Tech Tips. Do you want to just finish up the Able Gamers Mercedes Carrera stuff first?
Yes, there was was the thing I wanted to add, and that is, from now on, I recommend anyone who hears this to whenever they ever mention able gamers, either they mention it at all, call
that isn't all the news. There's been more news coming out from able gamers.
Whenever you mention it, call it that slur that's on Tumblr for people who hate disabled people. Ableist.
Ableist. Able gamers is ableist.
Yes, ableist gamers. That's going to be their name from now on.
Ableist gamers.
For political reasons, they refuse to do charity work.
Well, anyway,
at the expense of the disabled. So.
Able gamers recently got DDoSed. They basically, well, apparently, and I'm going to put this in inverted quotes, DDoSed, and they blamed Gamergate for this. Afterwards, it came out that actually their internet just had a little bit of a hiccup, and that's all it was. But
that's just the same as Brianna Wu's dog.
And
Gamergate poisoned my dog.
And they came out on their official Twitter and say, we are not pointing fingers. The fact is that we are not able to provide servers right now.
Yeah. And by the way, just FYI, the Fine Young Capitalists have now become a charity, and Mercedes Carrera's charity event will be going, the proceeds will be going to the Fine Young Capitalists. So support Mercedes Carrera. So, yeah, that's going to be that. But anyway, that's all I got on that.
I am going to start a religion based on Mercedes Carrera.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
Basically, we are an RPG party, and she's the healer of the group.
She's a healer? No, she is like the goddess who dictates every single thing we do.
Yeah, Mercedes Carrera is cool.
Back to extortion.
Oh yes.
But let me add something.
Alright, real quick. Last thing.
From my perspective, able gamers are not that bad. They were just inside a very toxic discussion in which there was a lot of misinformation. So please leave alone able gamers.
Don't harass people. Don't dox people. But generally, just general rule. Just don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick. That's all I ask. Just don't be a dick. Okay, let's move on to the big one. The big news. The big fish that we have potentially caught.
Well, less the fish, more the Sarkeesian.
Yes. we have caught the mighty Anita. And
biggest Sarkeesians to fry.
Great bait, mate. We've caught her in apparently tax fraud. Now, I'm saying this, big bags of salt. Keep the salt nearby, because what I'm saying here has not been 100% validated. So, keep that in mind. Keep your tinfoil hats on, because this is potential stuff. We don't know if it's real or not. But anyway, on with the actual stuff. A bunch of people basically asked Feminist Frequency for refunds, as well as specific documents proving that whether or not they can get their money back from the Feminist Frequency videos, which have had 7 times their original goal, and yet still are struggling to put out more than a video a month, or a video every 2 months. In fact, it's ridiculous. And
I think their videos are years apart, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, I guess they are.
Well, the tropes versus women
when did
ones,
Feminist
yes,
Frequency start? Was it 2012?
Should have started, yes, 2 years ago. But she made videos in between the tropes versus women ones. But the ones she promised were the tropes versus women ones, and with those she's just so far behind.
Yeah, because I believe she said she was going to do like a DVD box set that she was going to send out to people and stuff. It's like, where's that?
Yes, with concerning that, just always keep an eye on Leo Pirate. I'm pretty sure if he ever gets that DVD box of his, then he's going to say that he's going to publicize that instantly.
Oh yeah, But anyway,
You're Pirate, the dog with the eye patch.
yeah, I follow him on the Twitter.
How many videos out of tropes versus women right now?
I think
we're at 5. I think we're at 5 or 6. Yeah. I think she's just done 5 and we're waiting for 6. I'm gonna say I'll check now.
Does the video of the 25 privilege count?
No.
Well, technically not a feminist frequency video because she isn't even in it. So.
No, the ones that were promised in the Kickstarter.
She has that pinned to the fucking.
In the Kickstarter promised the tropes versus women videos, and then those she's just far behind.
Okay, so we have damsel in distress. So that's one topic. That's 1, 2, 3. Wait, no, there's got to be more than that. What? What the? 3?
No, I think she's at 4. That can't be.
Let me see. We got Damsels in Distress Part 1, Damsels in Distress Part 2, Damsels in Distress Part 3. So that's one topic. That's just Damsels in Distress, 3 parts. Then we have The Legend of the Last Princess, hypothetical game concept. I didn't count that because it's 1 minute long. Then we have Miss Male Character, trope, which is another trope. So that's second topic, 2. Then we have Women as Background Decoration Part 1. Then Women as Background Decoration Part 2. And then that's it.
Well, yes.
So 5.
3 then.
5.
I'm waiting for the 4th.
That's 3. That's 3 out of 12.
Yes, and she was supposed to be done with the 12 a year ago. So there's that.
And if you see pictures of her Kickstarter, you will see her with a pile of games. Have you seen that picture in which?
Oh yeah.
And then it was released a video in which she explicitly said that she doesn't play games. So what the hell?
The question is, she's sitting there with a pile of games, and she sits there with a pile of games in the advert for her Kickstarter. So all I can think is, you have all the games, okay? Fine. We've seen your previous videos. We know you have a camera. We know you have a green screen, and we know you have checkered shirts. What do you need the money for again? You have the games.
That's not really the thing. That's not really the thing by now. By now, it's about the tax fraud.
Oh well, yeah. That's actually the full topic was she's registered. Let me get this straight. She registered Feminist Frequency as a charity, but her charity exemption to tax ran out 2 years ago or a year ago. But she's still not paying tax, so. That's fraud, and that's kind of sort of illegal, and it could kind of maybe get.
I cannot wait to see Anita supporter saying something like she doesn't need to pay tax because she's a woman.
Well, taxes is the patriarchy.
Yes,
so...
tax. I was gonna say I predict now that at some point that we're gonna have genuine organisers to say something in the lines of that taxation is sexist or something like that,
or
that taxation is a system to oppress women.
If this is legitimate, if she did actually engage in tax fraud, then yeah, that's gonna happen.
And But what I'd hope that the IRS then looks into is she has several platforms where she gets regular donations. Patreon, for instance, that's one of them. I always wonder if she has more than Patreon. She has multiple. But if there's money handed around like that, is that being taxed? Because at some point it's going to be a sort of revenue for the videos, so of course she's going to have it. Once it surpasses a certain amount in total, at least in Europe that's the way. she would have to pay taxes for it as a revenue rather than rather than just for the transaction. Since there is no transaction tax, but
I wonder, where does Anita Sarkeesian... what is Anita Sarkeesian's main form of income? Because we have the Patreon for, what was it, 150,000?
The Patreon does monthly how much? Patreon is one of several, but...
I don't think it's... let me have a look. Is her Patreon set up per month, or is it per video?
I think it's per month. I'd guess it's per month. I don't know. Where is it? Oh, an Arini team.
Yeah, I'm opening it as well. Per monthly update video of the make. Oh wait, no. Whoops! I'm on the Sarkeesian effect. Oopsie daisies, wrong Patreon. No, that's Feminism versus Facts. I need.
Where is her Patreon?
What is her Patreon?
Is it gone?
Did she removed her Patreon, or did she have a Patreon, or was it all just Kickstarter?
There was so much talk about her Patreon. The charge does not exist.
No, I remember that there were monthly subscribers that had to pay a fee in her Patreon.
Yes, that was that.
And I heard that days ago.
Where did the Patreon go?
Where did the Patreon?
It left.
It has disappeared. It is no more. It is an ex-Patreon.
It's gone.
Maybe she made it somehow invisible for us.
Why would she do that? Oh, she could have given it a name. Actually, yeah.
Wait, no, I remember there was a Patreon. I remember I was on the site on the page once, at least once.
I wonder if it's under. No, it's not under Feminist Frequency.
No, it's gone.
It's not under Anita Sarkeesian. What are the names?
She's learned. She's covering her tracks.
Oh, do you think this is because of the whole fraud thing? She's deleted this?
Could be. Could be that she's covering her tracks now.
Could be indeed. That is an interesting development.
Because I've always wondered what this whole Patreon thing is. You know, that all these people funding each other on Patreon.
It's fundraising. You know, you pay per video.
No. I mean, yes. I know the basic concept of Patreon, but you know, a group of people paying each other high amounts of a Patreon that raises questions on what that Patreon really is, because then they might as well just not donate to each other.
Well, we've already figured out what. Right, okay, her Patreon's gone, so she doesn't get income from that. Given the fact that she had a Patreon, I think it's safe to say that her Kickstarter funds have run out. Given the fact that she even had one, so she's not getting income from that. Does she get paid to do talks? Like, how is she making her money?
That was the big thing with one of the Anon devs on the streams of King of Pol. Remember, he had several anonymous big game developers who came on and said some pretty grim things about what goes on in the companies, and one of them was either it was King of Pol or someone else, or it was some stream that certain AAA companies need to hold and attend paid talks of Anita Sarkeesian. Probably, or else their games are going to get negative coverage. As we've seen with the predictive qualities of Jonathan McIntosh's tweets in relation to Far Cry 4.
Well, I'm sad because I can't actually see Jonathan McIntosh's tweets anymore. He blocked me. I'm sad. But, yeah. By the way, just so for you guys listening, there is a bit of a Twitter fight going on right now between Thunderfoot and SRH Butts. Butts being a pretty well-known troll. So, you know.
SRH is a troll?
Well, I hope so. It's either that or he/she is incredibly stupid. One or the other.
I always thought he or she was just an ordinary anti-Gamergater that keeps going into the hashtag.
He keeps doing that, but he's just... There's a level of stupidity that I refuse to believe people will stoop down to.
But that's been surpassed ages ago. I'm pretty by now. Even months ago, I stuck to one simple approach to that, and that is one cannot be anti-Gamergate without ulterior motives.
Well, you say that. People who don't know much about Gamergate and only know it as, you know...
People who don't know much about it eventually find out about it.
Well,
so if you don't have an ulterior motive... You'd be
surprised how many people will just listen to the media and then go, right, well, they tell the truth, and then leave it at that. Be surprised. Saying that, I actually found out about Gamergate by somebody saying, oh man, you should find out about this Gamergate shit. It's just a bunch of horrible misogynists. I was like, oh, that sounds horrible. Let me look into this. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's wrong.
No, I've been sort of silently watching already back in the conspiracy times. You know, when it was about the Game Jam and Zoe Quinn and the Five Guys and Nathan Grayson and Anna Anthropy and Patricia Hernandez.
I found out about it pretty much when the Gamers Are Dead articles came out. Like, that's how my mate found out about it and was like, oh, look at these horrible misogynists. And then I read them, and I felt something was wrong, and I looked more into it.
I just know when the Aaron Johnny blog post came out, I didn't give it much thought because I thought it's just someone making a blog post. But when the video, Monday Matt's video on the blog post was then DMCA'd, I thought, wait. If there is nothing genuine about this, why would someone DMCA it?
DMCA is a pretty extreme reaction to a video that has apparently no basis in reality, according to Zoe Quinn.
When DMCAs, to me, are always a dead giveaway that there is something true to it.
There's some shady bullshit going on, basically, when there's a DMCA. Then again, DMCAs are, I guess, a little bit more dignified than what's been happening. I don't know if you've seen recently, this is completely off topic when it comes to Gamergate, but with Jim Sterling's YouTube coverage of the slaughtering grounds. Have you heard about that?
No. What was that?
Oh, it's glorious, and this is one of the many times actually I'm on Jim Sterling's side. I agree with him on lots of things, although I disagree with him on Gamergate. He did what he calls squirty play, which is basically a first impressions, completely blind look at a game, a random game that pops up on Greenlight often, or early access usually. And this game was the Slaughtering Grounds. It was a zombie survival game, and it was terrible. It was awful. So many technical things wrong with it, I couldn't even bother listing them all. So he, did his usual thing. He mocked it, he took the piss out of it, and then he went on with his life. The developer, on the other hand, did not see it that way. He took Jim Sterling's video, re-uploaded it with text on top of it calling Jim Sterling an asshole. This is the developer of the game. It's like, and it sparked this war, basically, where the developer uploaded that version with the text over it. Jim Sterling then took that, redid a voiceover over the text that was over his voiceover, and sent it back to the developers. But yeah,
Oh,
just
are
thought
you
that would be
talking?
pretty funny for you guys to
Are you
listen to.
talking about Jim?
Jim Sterling and the slaughtering grounds? Did you hear about that?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
As a
it's so
matter of
good.
Yeah, but I am not surprised that Jim does that kind of stuff.
Oh, but I was on Jim's side through that because I was like, the slaughtering grounds dev. To say that he had a mental breakdown would be an understatement. You know, he took the first video with him doing the text overlay. He put that on the Steam store for his game. Like, that was on the Steam store advertising for his game, was Jim Sterling's review with the text over it saying, you know, you're a knob, Jim Sterling.
But Jim
So
came
good.
out to be anti-GG.
I know, I'm potentially pro doxing, which means he lost a lot of respect in my eyes, which is a shame because I really liked him before all of this.
I didn't
I also
before.
followed him before Gamergate. I can say that I'm not surprised of the stand that he took, because even though he's very consumer friendly, he has always been very social justice warrior kind of
I was surprised.
Jim
ideologist.
Sterling?
Jim Sterling's always been very consumer friendly when it comes to standing up against developers, but when it comes against standing up against journalists, he seems to be a little bit more social justice. But if you look at his stuff on devs, he's spot on.
Wait, Jim
he
Sterling.
even, he even
Go on,
came
go on, Victor.
on his Twitter and say, "Fuck the escapists for giving for giving Madman, aka Gamergators, a platform to discuss."
But
And I was, what
Victor,
the
you were trying
hell
to.
is? And
Yeah.
I was, what the hell is wrong with you? What is so wrong with discussion? And then on one of his videos, he tried to change the hashtag, because that always works, right?
Yeah, Victor, you want to say something before just now?
I just find it hard to believe that Jim Sterling, of all people, is a social justice warrior. I know he is in favor of keeping these journalist structures maintained, but I don't think he's he's a left radical ideologue.
I don't think he is. I think he's on the anti-Gamergate side, but barely. I don't think he's gone full Macintosh.
I think his anti-Gamergate leaning stands and falls with the benefits he gains from it.
The big issue I have with Jim Sterling recently has been from his panel with Adam Sessler. I don't know if you guys saw it. Well, Adam Sessler came out saying, you know, if I disagree with you, I am totally within my rights to find your personal information and send it out there to dox you basically. And Jim Sterling was on that panel. And my issue with Jim Sterling is he didn't say anything. He just sort of nodded and said, "Yep, yep." He agreed with Adam Sessler when Adam Sessler was saying, "I'm within my right to dox you if I disagree with you." Saying, what the hell, dude? Come on, really?
And then has really just been too long has been handed out too much for too long. He's just been corrupted in the most basic manner. It's not political in any way. It's really just
no. It's just
ordinarily.
He's just been surrounding him. I still have hope for Jim Sterling. Just like, well, I was about to say I still have hope for Kotaku, but I really don't anymore. I used to, but
no. I can tell you right now that all your hope for Jim Sterling is lost. It was lost back. I always hear pro Gamergate people say that Jim Sterling that there's hope for Jim Sterling, or that maybe Jim Sterling might see the light or something. Jim Sterling has actually been against us from the start.
He has, but I think that
and he's never going to change.
Well, when this keeps going, and when Gorka gets shut down, when Kotaku is in the gutter, when Polygon doesn't have a dime to its name, when all of a sudden all his friends and all the people he looked up to and all the people who surrounded him and supported him all of a sudden don't have any money and in fact can't fund him anymore, I think at that point he will turn around and he will sort of go,
Yes.
I think I was on the wrong side.
Yes, but to think it that way. If it happens, when he does change sides, does he really deserve to keep a job as a game journalist then? Because then he's just being an opportunist.
Well, yes, I honestly think
he took a side being an opportunist.
Look, one thing we cannot do is not give our opposition an out. That's a cardinal sin. If we need to make sure that Kotaku and Polygon and even Gorka and even Gamasutra know how to get out of this situation. We can make our demands and we can give them an out. If we don't do that, we create fanatics and we create radicals.
But
that's not good. We don't want to do that.
First, I will add that I don't think Jim is that kind of people that admits mistakes.
I would agree with that. I don't think he is. I think it would take a lot for him to change his mind. I just don't think it's impossible to change his mind.
Now on something else, I think there are a lot of people that don't deserve the trust of Gamergate. Like, for example, Debbie Amber, who basically backstab us in the back and then say that we are monsters.
Or Alexander, or Geordie Tate.
Yes. Alexander never was on our side.
So basically, if people like Jim, not Jim specifically, came back, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to trust them as much as I did before.
Well, at that point, I would say trust but be skeptical. Yeah, bring him back in, welcome him with open arms, but it doesn't mean trust him 100%. It means, yeah, be polite, be welcoming, be warm, but still keep an eye on him.
You know, when the opposition was trying the whole thing with game ethics, he was there. He was always supporting the anti-Gamergate narrative. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can really condone him being included. Once the tides have completely turned.
Do you think that even if we win over Gawker, the GG community will still be GG? I mean, will GG eventually become something else when we eventually proclaim victory?
Well, I guess when Gawker is gone, GG is going to shrink, but it's not going to go.
GG is going to shrink, but I don't think... I think a lot of people realize and a lot of people know that Gorka's one pillar. Gorka is just one pillar in a giant tower. It's a big pillar, but it's only one of them. Once Gorka goes down, we just move on to the next pillar, and we start knocking down that one.
My favorite metaphor for it has always been that we're seeing a set of corrupt companies. We're seeing companies that have corruption in them, but Gorka is our prime target because Gorka is really just crystalline corruption. It has no actual merit as what they do, because all their news sites are just tabloids for smearing people. And their gaming news sites are just social justice with a little bit of games in it.
Well, it's social justice about games.
So it doesn't have the Gorka is really just crystalline corruption. That's why we're on about Gorka.
Can I ask you guys something?
Is it a personal question?
No, it's a GG question. Why did you came to Gamergate in the first place?
Well, Victor, I'll let you answer that first, and then I'll answer.
Well, firstly, I've seen even in AAA games a bit of a decline in complexity of games. We see that, for instance, in BioWare, in how if you for instance compare the Neverwinter Nights games with today's Dragon Age games. They've become more and more simple. Then you see that with the Elder Scrolls. You see that with other things, and also there are trends in making stories. Making stories. It's how do I say that? They seem less. A lot of things in the stories seem forced. They don't seem to be as genuine as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think the stories of video games and computer games used to be a lot more genuine and a lot more grasping, and you were immersed much more in it. And some of that seems to have really gone over the years. And my suspicion is that this kind of social justice corruption, this forcing devs to rewrite their stuff the way someone else dictates it to, is part of the problem there. And there's the same going on with novels, but I just don't read that many novels. Another reason is that aside from gaming and hardcore gaming and complexity and so on, what it also partially is money motivated artificial reduction of video game quality. You see that in the indie game indie game scene with the those racketeering competitions, where games are pushed that are really just poor at the expense of the really good ones, so that you have to invest less money into average indie games.
So you're here in Gamergate because you wanna promote quality games over games that were created only to make money.
Genuine storytelling and quality games, yes.
Okay. And what about you, Jacob?
Well, I joined it pretty much around the time that the Gamers Are Dead articles sort of came out, and I'm in it for more emotional reasons. I'm in it because I identified as a gamer. I still identify as a gamer. I'm proud of that identification. I'm very comfortable with it. It's something that's been with me for a long time, and I'm sick of it being trampled on. And I want to see people that trample on it and call me a misogynist asshole apologize. That's all I'm looking for. I'm on the same sort of wavelength as Gene Barrage. Is I want an apology.
You're never gonna get that.
Well, then they can burn.
They'll rather sink completely than apologize for that.
Then they will sink completely, and I won't stop till they've sunk. I'm looking for either an apology or an obliteration, pretty much. If they simply stood up and said sorry, I would back out. I would no longer be part of Gamergate. I would leave because I'd be going, I've had my needs sated. But until that happens, I'm still here. And if you're saying that's never going to happen, then alright, I'm in it till the end.
with the articles regarding Metalhead, not Metalhead, but Metalgate, I always have the suspicion that the 10 articles were actually as founded with Sargon of Akkad and his digging videos, partially, that it's actually all just a coincidence, and these articles have been planned to do as a campaign years ago, and it's really just the timing of first Quinspiracy and the censorship happening, and the articles. That was really just a coincidence, and that coincidence was what really created it hard for Gamergate.
And that's my point. I mean, Gamergate has a lot of faces, a lot of problems to solve. So when I speak about what Gamergate is going to be next, when we eventually defeat Gawker, it's really hard to point out because many GGers are very different from from other GGers, and they have very different beliefs, and we are just a bunch of consumers that are up against a single common enemy, right? At least that's my opinion.
Oh yeah, you're totally right in that.
So when someone asks me what's gonna come of Gamergate, what's the next step of Gamergate, it really depends on the person who you are asking, right?
Yeah, it depends on who you're asking. Like many people have said, Gamergate it's not a movement of people, it's a movement of ideas. People latch onto an idea they like, an idea that works, and they run with it. After Gorka goes down, what you will see is an influx of ideas. People saying, let's go after Polygon, let's go after Kotaku, let's try and fund this new website and get that up and running. What we will see is a whole new bunch of ideas streaming forward, and then eventually one of them will catch on, one of them will work, maybe two of them. Those will garner a majority of the support, and then we'll have a new target. It's really that simple.
I think the new target is going to be by default just Polygon /
Probably
Vox.
it's going to be Polygon, yeah.
Polygon or Vox.
I'm thinking Polygon because Polygon, they've been talking more. I've heard more about Polygon than Vox, so.
Or
Just my
Vice.
opinion.
But it's one thing really.
Or Vice, yeah.
Vice. Nah.
Or even Cracked.
We'd go after MTV.
Why MTV?
or even general media if you think about it.
No, but no. I really think that the default target after Gorka is going to be Vox Media, because that's where Polygon comes from, and Vox Media has probably been doing anti-Gamergate stuff behind the scenes too.
Do the Vox own Polygon then?
Yes.
Oh, then yeah, probably going to be Vox then. That
And
way we
Vox,
get rid of Polygon.
Vox also was the ones that across several media sites smeared Intel after Intel.
Right. Well. Right. Well, fuck them. I like Intel. No, fuck that.
That's basically what people were on about when it was Operation Vox Populi. You know, they just defaulted into smearing Intel. They smeared Intel because Intel pulled support from ad support from one site.
Yeah, they still pull from Gorka, aren't they?
And what's next? Declaring war on Microsoft. That's the kind of league I think that is in.
Well then, yeah. I guess after this, it'll be Vox Populi, or then Vox Populi Mark II.
And there's that.
Yeah.
I was in the course of Gamergate. I was surprised how big a thing this Gorka is actually. With Kinja being part of it, and Kotaku, and of all things, Jezebel.
Yeah, fuck Jezebel. Sorry.
Remember, Jezebel. This kind of tabloid is part of Gorka.
Just when I think about, like, okay, we have Kotaku and Jezebel owned by the same people. That just doesn't add up in my head. It just doesn't make sense.
In the aftermath, that makes certain things make sense after all. You know, isn't Jezebel this absolutely misandrist tabloid?
Oh god,
with
yeah. It's
stuff like have you hit your boyfriend because we have, and then if that's part of Gorka and Gamergate goes after Gorka, then of course certain people are going to say, well, then Gamergate is a backlash against women. Well, yeah, Gorka has a tabloid that caters to women, but that's not the reason.
Well, yeah, that's not why we're going after it. But.
That's probably how they come to that conclusion.
Probably. But yeah, that's probably the plan afterwards. And we'll see what happens. We'll see where openings arise. Keep your ears to the ground and see what happens, I guess.
And the mails.
And emails. Send them. Load the email cannons and fire.
The only reason why we are such an effective force is because of the emails.
Because of the emails and because of the just goddamn motivation.
And whenever someone mentions able gamers, ableist gamers, call them ableist gamers.
Ableist
I
gamers.
already said that I won't support that.
Hashtag ableist gamers. Make it happen.
Okay,
Calling you out,
so much
ableist.
for that.
We're calling you out here on the Pretzels and Tea Podcast.
Are we going to wait? This is then the end of the podcast. Then
Oh yeah, I guess. All right.
are we
Onto-
going to do? How about next time we do the Tumblrism edition?
I think we should save the Tumblrism edition for a quiet week when we don't really have much to talk about.
Okay.
We'll see what happens next week, over the coming
Okay.
weeks, and see if anything big happens. But yeah, I've been your host, Jacob. I'll give you some time to plug your shit. So, Victor, do you have anything you want to plug? Nope.
No, me. Is that
Yeah,
if
go,
you wanna?
Go.
What?
Go, plug. Be a shameless whore. Go, now.
No. Is that if you wanna talk to me about Gamergate or something else, join my group or follow me on Twitter because I'm actually really active on those sites.
Okay.
Yes, but when you
what's
plug
your Twitter
your
handle?
name, you have to give your name, your precise name.
Yeah, what's your Twitter handle and spell it out so people will hear it.
It's Mad Revelation.
Mad Revelation. Okay. No underscores, nothing like that?
No, Mad Revelation. That's it.
Alright, everyone, you know what to do. Give him some follows, do the likes and the tweets. You know what to do. Victor, what do you have? Anything you want to...
Nothing to plug.
Nothing to
Nothing
plug.
to plug. I'm just Victor from the Pretzels.
Victor from the Pretzels. Okay. I'm Heretical Filth on Twitter. I find that name gives me joy.
Are you Chaos? Are you a Chaos follower?
No comment.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you pronounce? How do you spell heretical filth?
Yeah, it's Heretical Filth. It's just like, hang on a sec. It's Heretical Filth Filth.
Okay.
You should
And what was
get
the other one? Arc Revelation?
Yeah, Mad Revelation.
Pardon? Mind Revelation.
MAD Revelation.
Mad Revelation. Okay.
Yeah, I got him here. So yeah, that's been it from the Pretzels and Tea Podcast. Next time, who knows? There could be crazy things happening in the week to come, which we will
Next
talk
time
about.
we promise to bring more guests.
Yeah, we need one more guest. If you, any of you viewers, want to come on to the podcast, tweet at me, or Facebook message me, or just send smoke signals or messenger pigeon. I don't know.
Yes, this is a small podcast. We're not e-celebrities. We're no big names.
Yeah.
This is not a big thing. Anyone who wants has space to come in here.
Everyone's voice is equal here, except for mine, because I'm the host, so fuck y'alls. I can do what I want. Oh, and Victor, he's co-host, so I guess he can do what he wants as well.
Well, to a certain extent.
To a certain
Otherwise,
extent,
yes.
Anyway, that's been us, and peace out to all y'alls.